Thank you. Thank you. John, how concerned is the administration right now that Afghanistan has become a safe haven for terrorists?
I think if you were to ask some members of Al-Qaeda, ask them how safe they feel in Afghanistan right now. I think we proved to a fare thee well this weekend that it isn't a safe haven, and it isn't going to be going forward.
What will the repercussions be for the Taliban harboring al-Zawahiri?
I'm not going to telegraph moves and decisions that we might make. I'm certainly not going to get ahead of anything at this point. I would just make 2 points. One, the strike itself shows how serious we are about accountability, shows how serious we are about defending our interests. And we're going to maintain, as I said at the outset, we're going to maintain this over-the-horizon capability. In fact, I'd go so far as to say we're going to continue to try to improve that capability going forward. And number two, we've communicated very directly with Taliban leaders our views of their willingness at some level, of course, to harbor Zawahiri and his family. And we have made it clear that not we believe, not we think, not we suppose, but we know that that's a violation of the Doha Agreement.
So obviously, John, just to follow up on that, clearly this shows accountability for Zawahiri and for Al-Qaeda, wherever they are, as you got him in Afghanistan, but it doesn't show accountability for what the Secretary of State described as a gross violation of the Doha Agreement. So can you commit that there will be some act to demonstrate that they will be held accountable in some way? And how do you do that without it looking like, yep, we'll just take out one by one, you can keep allowing more in?
Well, again, I'm not going to telegraph punches that haven't been thrown yet, or decisions that haven't been made yet. We're going to stay vigilant to the threat. We've made it clear to the Taliban that we know what they did, and we know who they harbored, and we know some of the steps they tried to take after the strike to cover up the evidence of it. So we're mindful of it. But I'm not going to get ahead of decisions, policy decisions that haven't been made. I mean, it's not that we take the Taliban at their word, but just indulge me for a second. They claim they want a relationship with the United States and with the West. They claim they want to open up and be part of the international community. They claim they want financing. That's exactly right, Peter. So if that's true, if that's what they really want, then it would behoove them to pay close attention to what we just did over the weekend and to meet their agreements under the Doha Agreement.
Without identifying them, how many other Al-Qaeda individuals or leaders do you assess are presently living in Afghanistan?
I'm not going to get into intelligence matters, Peter. We said even before we left Afghanistan last August that we knew Al-Qaeda was present in Afghanistan in relatively small numbers, and we know that there are still some Al-Qaeda fighters in Afghanistan. I would, again, without getting into classified information here, I would say the number's not very large, and that's core Al-Qaeda. There are also offshoots like ISIS-K, which we know are very active in Afghanistan and right now. The other thing that I want to say, and I know rightly we're focused on Afghanistan, but again I want to take you back in time a little bit to about a year ago when we talked about this threat and then our departure from Afghanistan. We know that Al-Qaeda has metastasized, both in terms of character. Now they've got different offshoot groups, Al-Shabaab, ISIS, and ISIS has got splinter groups of its own. But they've also metastasized geographically. They're not focused as much in a presence in Afghanistan. They're in North Africa. They're in the Sahel. They're throughout the Middle East. They're in Yemen. So, I mean, there are other counterterrorism threats in other parts of the world. We're going to stay focused on them all. I get that we're focused on Afghanistan right now, but we're not taking our eye off the rest of the world either.